Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome, everybody, to our Division One playoff broadcast here today. Giving you guys Division One semifinals, both the first and the other one, and then leading up to Division One finals. My name is Kyon. On the other side is someone who's been fresh off of Division 7 finals earlier today, Spicy. Welcome back, by the way. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Division 7 finals was an absolute blast to cast. We saw Malicious Melons take the win over Ziphius in a very dramatic fashion. Dear Lord, that game 4 is still haunting me in terms of what the heck did I just see. Division 10A is still going on right now. That is going to a game 8 when I'm like, okay, so we're in for great stuff. This is a marathon of competitive Splatoon. Championship Sunday is where you want to be, and two teams here, Facade and 37 Sexy Boys, are fighting still just for a shot at the championship, which is so exciting.
Yeah, that's for sure. As we're gonna get some minor updates to the graphics there. We're gonna pretend we didn't see that. Yeah, we got ourselves a pretty much a marathon of Ludi Division games coming up here. Everything will be leading up to we'll be leading up to their penultimate finals, especially here in Division 1. 37 Sexy Boys and Facade is what Spicy and I will be calling. Then we'll have our next set of commentators give you Na Odd Win versus Hades, and the winner of those will sum up to finals coming up here soon. And this will be a very fun one coming up here, Spicy. I couldn't be any more excited for this. And of course, we got to start talking about the two teams here, 37 Sexy Boys and Facade being the first one up. I had the privilege to cast Facade yesterday in the 26 Last Chance qualifiers. This is what we got. And again, they're not D9 winners. We're jumping the gun here a bit. They're actually demoted by a few divisions. But Spicy, we should be expecting some fun ones here coming up.
Oh yeah, both these teams, they're in Division 1 for a reason. These are some when you're talking D1, you're talking some of the best teams in the world at this point here. Yes, they're still Division X, but to be in the Final Four for Division 1, it's an incredible achievement just here, but no, neither of these teams are settling for just making it to semis. They want to play in finals. They want to win it all in a couple hours here. Talking about Facade, talking about 37 Sexy Boys. Both these teams have been on incredible paths to the playoffs here as well, and just having an opportunity to see these teams at this point, we're in for an incredible matchup later on here. I'm excited for whatever we have coming our way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We're still getting ourselves a little situated, which will give us some time to wake up a little bit here, Spicy, because I know we're both just beforehand a little exhausted, but we got to be revved up and ready to go. Let's give you the pass on how both teams got to this point. 37 Sexy Boys got the 5-2 victory over Catnip in top 8. That's and Facade able to get the 5-2 victory over Project Rat as well, and that sets the stage up for that first semifinal game here. We take a look at it, but if we also go back even further to group stages for both these teams, 37 Sexy Boys was second place in Group D. Facade was first in Group C. So this, so for 37 Sexy Boys, still trying to keep it up as, of course, a second place finisher in the group side, excuse me. And then, of course, Facade trying to still continue on the run. Of course, I think Facade might still be reeling from yesterday, but it's time to reset. Now it's time to see if they can win out Division 1, especially entering into this first semifinals. I feel like, Spicy, we're both as excited as we can be for this.
For sure, yeah. I can't imagine how these teams are feeling too. One other thing to note about Facade in particular, this team is they went undefeated in the group stage, I believe, in terms of like individual games, or they lost very minimal, losing only 2 in the quarters to Project Rat. So now going in now, 37 Sexy Boys, they've taken a couple losses in terms of games. They've taken a set loss in groups, but at this point, whatever matters is who is the best individual team on this given day. And kicking it off with Rainmaker Undertow, I think the big thing here is how does these teams try to settle the pace? How do you set the tone early on? Because one thing here is that you have to consider, not only are you putting all this effort in to win this set, you have to play another set later on if you win this. So instead of just playing the normal, like 1 week, you're prepping for one team, you also have to keep in mind, like, I got to conserve a little bit of energy at least for finals, because that's going to be something incredibly taxing as well. So having that mental game, knowing where all you stand early on, is going to be really important for both these teams, just even as early as the first game.
And you pretty much are right on the money there too. Is that first game could help out with setting the tone for how the rest of the set's going to go. We saw earlier in the week, Division X earlier last week or this week, if you want to phrase it this way. We also had our Division X broadcast, and exactly, GoldenEye was on the same trend where they had to wait a couple hours until they got to play their finals matchup. So you win this one, but your day's not over. You're gonna play another set. Set soon. So obviously I'd imagine the goal here for both teams is just get this set done as soon as you can. Of course, for us viewers, and of course you and I, Spicy, we want to see this go the distance. I'm sure both teams don't want to be feeling that, just be feeling the exhaustion or the fatigue the more the set goes through.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You definitely want to be in, like, okay, as few games as possible. Let's get this win. Let's start prepping for the next team. Let's watch the next set, I guess. Let's get some scouting reports going. But you never know, especially at this level, neither team is going to give any inches. And you're going to be seeing I think this has a lot of potential to be a very long set. Despite how strong Facade has been this entire season, 37 Sexy Boys really has shown why they deserve to be here. So I'm excited to see how these teams approach this matchup here, knowing all the prep they have going into it, but also understanding, like, there's still the championship at the end of the day. We have to fight our way just to get into that, as it looks like we are finally kicking it into Game 1, Rainmaker Undertow Spillway.
This is gonna be a lot of fun here. Of course, we both like to know our respective sports here. Final Four kicking off here today. By the way, 37 Sexy Boys is gonna be on the alpha side. Other side is gonna be Facade. I take a look at the weapons right away. That min decap is still living rent free in my head. I'm glad to see it again. Squiffer making its debut. I believe this is gonna be a bubble versus bubble setup as well that we're gonna be dealing with. So this is gonna be Intriguing to see how both teams want to set up this pacing here, especially if they can take full advantage of the bubbles and of course the Zugas from the dueling shots as we see right away. 2 members out from 37 Sexy Boys. Facade picks up the Rainmaker. Spicy.
Facade making their way over to that left checkpoint, able to break it as well. So you see now, especially because there's some Zuka in play now for the side of Facade, they're really trying to get this set over with as fast as possible, making their way already up, going past that green pill, and now they are going to get a wipe. And look at this, how fast this game is going. They are taking it all the way to the 1, and it's only been about 50 seconds into this game.
Already 50 seconds into this game, and then it's almost the KO is absolutely needed from 37 Sexy Boys if they wanted to get that started. Of course, aided with the wipeout that we saw from earlier. Facade is setting that tone fast and furious, basically saying we gotta go and punish 37 Sexy Boys as much as we can with the way we play. But of course, Facade now they can afford to play defensively or just even go for that KO if they want to be spicy enough. But the big thing if you're Facade is you don't want to put your foot off the gas pedal quite yet. There is still plenty of game to be had. And one false move, 37 Sexy Boys can always punish you whenever they can. Right now, the Rainmaker is dropped here, Spicy, but at least that's a great opening push for Facade.
Yeah, Facade at least needed to get something going there, and you saw how strong the push is. Best defense could just be a strong offense. Maybe that's their philosophy going into this, just trying to get any picks that possible, and you'll see it of picks. 2 down, 3 down actually from the side of Facade. 37 Sexy Boys get that wipe. Very critical for them. They do have the Rainmaker fall in the process, but you are seeing that because of this advantage, they might be able to get towards that next check. End up getting picked off by J-Rod, who's able to splat out Sully. Now Akame just trying to stay alive here. Look at 37 Sexy Boys. They had a great positioning, but they go multiple down in this process, and now the Rainmaker is basically back into a neutral-ish state. As you see, Facade has recovered in spades. Already out with the tactical core, Rainmaker looks like it's going to be resetting back to mid, and we're now with the game halfway through. This is still going to be a great position for Facade.
Yeah, it's staggered 2 down from 37 Sexy Boys, allowed Facade to give themselves enough room to basically to maneuver up forward and allow themselves to get that pick that J-Rod was able to get, and 37 Sexy Boys cannot cash in on a possible checkpoint. That again, that wipeout could have been so much worse for Facade, but 37, but at the end of the day, able to shut down that push, going into that left checkpoint where that is pretty much one of the safest checkpoints to get if in that state there for 37 Sexy Boys. I'll give them this though. Their Facade is just mainly focused on making sure 37 Sexy Boys has no chance to move up. They know that they have just the 1 point. I mean, there's no reason to just go and play very silly aggressive at this stage. So I imagine just trying to keep a very defensive front, make sure the line is being held, and try not to be too over aggressive when they can help it. 37 Sexy Boys are still looking to make another push happen here, Spicy.
Yeah, the onus is on 37 Sexy Boys to make something happen here, and getting 2 down onto Facade is a great way to start off with this. And you see them they still have to break this first checkpoint. 90 seconds to go, bubble on the check, and they aren't able to break it, and 3 down for 37 Sexy Boys as Facade is still holding on strong with about 75 seconds to go. You see them just being able to just maintain on defense for time and time again. Just watching us, 37 just has really struggled to make anywhere out because of the Facade defense here. We're approaching the final minute here. You see the strikes coming out as well as some players just moving around, trying to figure something out here. As 37 Sexy Boys, time is ticking here in this game 1.
Not much time left on the clock, and again with Facade with that opening push, just keep that line held as much as they can. Just try to make sure that 37 Sexy Boys cannot work together as a unit. Now the big thing that 37 Sexy Boys has is just that bubble. They originally had the Zuka, but it's just the trip strikes that also got shut down. Slaughter's down as well there, and I don't think neither of them actually really picked up the cooler because the cooler didn't respawn, so they're gonna have to wait some time there to basically get that special back up. So that's gonna be one of the things you're gonna need to keep an eye on there for 37 Sexy Boys is can you find that coordinated push with all the specials that you have. Facade is just going to be looking for that shutdown as much as possible. 13 seconds left to go on the clock. It's a 3-down situation. 37 Sexy Boys might be done on this one. Happy is somehow moving up. I believe this actually is the correct play, believe it or not, there. But they do go down for their efforts here. Spicy overtime has kicked in.
Yeah, overtime kicking in. This is one last gasp from 37 Sexy Boys. They just have to actually get to the Rainmaker first, but Akame's got to try and turn this out. And now you see, fighting over at the bubble, 37 has to take the Rainmaker, and they aren't able to even break the bubble. It was just such a strong defensive hold for Facade. Even triggering a overtime situation, Facade just felt like they were in control pretty much that entire game.
And all that just kickstarted from just that massive push, which pretty much again
Oh, yeah.
eases off a lot of that pressure on your defensive front to basically just say, all right, they have to just get the KO. We have a lot of room to work with there from that first push alone. So all we gotta do is just be able to play our game. Make sure that 37 Sexy Boys, no chances for them to push in either front. And there were several times where Facade got wiped out. 37 Sexy Boys, though, in a stagger 2 down, could not take advantage. J-Rod instantly knowing the assignment there, able that allowed them to not get that first checkpoint cleared earlier in this game, as we do get to see the highlights. So, and there. And again, I think this was around the time, yeah, they did break it through. No, they did not. Correction. And that's and again, with Facade knowing that that they weren't feeling too pressured to basically get that more points on the board, just hold the defensive line, and that's all you need.
Yeah, just holding the defensive line is all you need. That great offense in game at the beginning of game 1 just translates into a strong defense. You don't need to do too much there. We're going into Mahi Mahi Resorts Splat Zones, a very small map mode, and I think really similar to how game 1 started, I think the opening of this is going to really tell a lot, especially with how limited the spacing is on Mahi zones at the start of the game. Being able to get a good advantage early on, I think, will be critical for both these teams here. I'm wondering what are the options, whether it be playstyle swaps or playstyle adjustments or weapon swapping, that for as both these teams approach this game too. Because yes, game 1 happened and it was kind of dominant from the side of Facade, but game 2 could easily go in the way of 37 Sexy Boys. And a quick shout out to the Sea Dragons, who did win Division 10A over on SplatoonTourney 1 in Game 8. Very dramatic set overall. That was very fun to watch on the side.
Yeah. This was the lead up to Division 1 for those who are for those who are tuning in, and they were able to swap over and continue the rest of the set onto SplatoonTourney 1. Huge shout out, by the way, to Sea Dragons, winning out Division 10A Grand Finals there, so they will get the gold, but we got to figure out who will make gold out of Division 1. So now that we got that in store, now we got to see how both teams play in this map. Again, as you know, it's a very small zones map there. Around 61 points remaining is kind of where the map, of course, starts to expand. So that's where the game will start to matter the most. I do see the 52 gal, I think, just being dished out there. Glugas have made their entrance. Okay, then. Hi, Glugas.
And weirdly enough, I kind of like the Gluga Dually pick here. Actually, you have the Splash Ball, which it takes up a lot more space on a small map like Mahi, and the Booyah Bomb, especially on this kind of zone, really gets a lot of effect here, whether it be for displacement or whether it be to control the zone. And you're seeing now this team, Facade, has just started off on once again in a really strong way, taking control of the zone, already past the 70 at this point now, and it's really just trying to capitalize on the momentum that they had from game 1. It looks like nothing's stopping them, as look, the 61, as you mentioned, and the water level drops, the map just gets a lot bigger, and so does this lead.
Yeah, this lead continued to expand even further. It's the exact same style that they did in game 1, where they're just gonna try to take every advantage that they can. They do go 3 down, but once they captured the zone, it was just everybody send it, go forward as much as you can. And 37 Sexy Boys, yes, you do get the zone, but you're gonna have to work through a lot of points in order to get the lead back. But if there's anything to 37 Sexy Boys credit that they can get, is the fact that the map expands. They have a lot more room to maneuver here. So look for 37 Sexy Boys to try to take advantage around the map, try to see if they can make it happen there. As Facade, they do get the zone back, put a little bit of penalty points into 37 Sexy Boys, but it is going to be 2 down. 37 Sexy Boys just wrestling out of those penalty points for about a few moments.
Yeah, and I think being able to at least now work their way out of their penalty is great here for 37 Sexy Boys. It does look like Facade might be able to switch the zone. They aren't able to indeed. And you see that Akame once again with a very aggressive positioning, trying to pull off some flanks, and you just watch over now as a lot of 37 has been put out of position. And now it's a 2-down position for both sides here. The bubble from Sully on 37 is going to be really helpful here just to get some jumps in or offer some extra defense. But the zone is still in favor of Facade, who is now trying to work their way out of their penalty. And never mind, as 37 puts an extension on the edge, but J-Rob with a huge pick with that Trizuka as well. And now it's seeing a bit of a back and forth so far, despite the early lead that Facade built.
Yeah, we're seeing this back and forth action. The Zuka did help build them a little bit of space, but the quick 3 down, Facade's going to be able to keep that zone, for just a tiny bit longer. And again, the way once they catch that zone and realize it's the 3 down, they're putting themselves in position where, all right, now we can catch 37 Sexy Boys a little off guard. Fishy's having to recognize that, just move a little bit further left to get themselves a safe position. Their Glugos, by the way, from Kyox going down on top of it, and now they're trying to use the Zukas to fire from the other side, but J-Rod retaliated back with their own Zuka shot and lands that one beautifully. It is going to be a staggered 2-down that is actually going to be enough paint, I believe, for Facade to paint over this one. 37 Sexy Boys would have to rush in, but there may not be a chance to respond back, and there will not be one. Facade's going to be up 2-0 here in the set here, Spicy.
Yeah, Facade now with a 2-0 lead. It doubles the lead from the first game. Not exactly a comfortable lead yet. We've seen it time and time again, especially in playoffs, where teams will start to make a comeback here. But Facade, one big thing they are really working with right now is just that momentum. You see what happens at the start of every game, where you see now, look, if you look at the time and compare it to the points remaining, within the first minute, they take it to the 29, which is absolutely amazing. And it really puts 37 Sexy Boys in a really difficult position to begin with. Last time on Undertow, they almost had the knockout. Now here in Splat Zones, almost a similar situation as well. So Facade has just been doing really well in terms of being able to get that like opening pushes right there. Just being able to, okay, we'll just throw out so many points early on, make it difficult for anyone to just try and come back, and eventually this leads to the knockout positioning.
And now for 37 Sexy Boys, this is the map where you do not want to get Facade an even better opening push, because this can snowball out of control past that first checkpoint onto the second. So 37 Sexy Boys doesn't stop them on that initial push there. That's where things can get very, very rough. We saw it from the first 2 maps there, Spicy. Strong opening push, and Facade never looks back. 37 Sexy Boys, I'd imagine, style-wise, has to shore up on defense, and that's going to be the ultimate question, is how do they basically fix that defense so that they don't allow those opening pushes to happen the way they are.
Yeah, and one interesting thing is, like, you'll think about, like, defense and the side of, like, defense especially matters in, like, the last 30 seconds or, like, you know, the last minute of a game.
Yeah.
Right now, 37 Sexy Boys is like, they got to prioritize that first minute defense, which is really where Facade has been shining. And going into tower control, ship shape, that's really where the first opening minute is going to matter. And how is 37 Sexy Boys? They're either going to have to minimize the impact that Facade has been able to do in that opening minute, or they'll just have to respond early, do what Facade has been doing to them, and do it first, because whoever's been getting that opening push has really just had a lot of momentum. And especially in this upcoming map mode combination, that opening is going to be incredibly important.
That's good. That's the big thing here, is can 37 Sexy Boys retaliate with their own stronger opening push? That's going to really help set the tone for the way this map plays out. Zap and Range Blaster, no surprise at all if you see this one. Happy is going to switch over to the Zip Caster Octorush variant. I'm actually going to be intrigued to see if Happy can get value out of that Octorush. But I see what 37 Sexy Boys is trying to at least do is take full advantage of the Range Blaster with the way the map geometry is laid out, and just using the Zap to not only just get paint and then a little bit of coverage up front, but try to get coolers available there. I like the adjustments for 37 Sexy Boys. Facade is going to try to counter out with their own Octorush. A little bit of a duel on both sides. 37 Sexy Boys at least putting points on the board, if anything, until possibly now.
Yeah, and I actually really like the picks also here from 37 Sexy Boys. One notable thing here is that they switched to the end zap just to give a little more speed, I think, here. It isn't going to work out too much as Facade, despite giving up the first opening points, they're going to be the first team to hit that checkpoint. And you see that they have a Trizuka online, the Cooler also online. They are starting to work their way through this checkpoint as the Whale offers some extra support. And Facade has once again found themselves in the opening minute lead, because look at this, we're already at the 38 here, and it's an incredible push as Sully is trying to get some picks off and trying to stop any momentum that Facade has. And look at all these picks flying.
Yeah, all the picks are just flying across the board right now. Akame was able to get a few more. It's a very, very brawly game, to say the least. But 37 Sexy Boys, it is 38 points remaining. The big thing there is that they did not allow that tower to reach that second checkpoint. Again, that's where things can get out of control. It's still within reason for 37 Sexy Boys, and they are responding very well. Coming back into this one, at least what we saw earlier is them shutting down that push from Happy there with that Opt Rush with the Zip Caster. That's good. That was the big shutdown there because it could have gotten way worse. But in this case, 37 Sexy Boys, at least they hold on for a little bit more. Facade's like, no, we're gonna try to see if we can punch back.
Yeah, and the punch back is going to be the question here to ask as we are 2 minutes into this game. Watching Fishy now, getting a couple of picks, getting one on Akame as well. But 37 Sexy Boys falls into a 3-down situation as Facade has the tower once again, trying to extend this lead even further that they have. You see that the cooler online has been pivotal for them. J-Rod firing that Trizuka, trying to find some extra picks from long range, taking one on the Fishy before getting splatted down by Sully, I think, in the process. And now 2 down are... 1 down from each side at the moment, and a lot potentially of picks here as Sully has discovered 2, make that potentially 3, and what a triple we got there from 37 Sexy Boys Sully.
Quick awareness from Sully, recognizing that where the jumps were going to be, and just a little too, let's say, opportunistic from Facade, just trying to keep that push alive, but they find themselves into the winning hands of Sully, who was able to just splat them up for the triple and just shut down the initial push there. That was well executed. Could have just been the double in a trade, but that was really nice. May have bought themselves a little bit more spacing for 37 Sexy Boys to rebound. Again, they're still, again, though, for 37 Sexy Boys, still just barely approaching that first checkpoint. They still need to find value out of this one. Sully could be the factor here with that triple and then trying to build on top of it. J-Rod did get shut down. This will be the first checkpoint cleared out. Now, Happy's kind of zoned out from that right-hand side. Snipe Rider is also trying to be in position. But again, how much will this go out of control? This could be soon. It's 2 members down, by the way, and the rest of Facade is still a little further back. They're having to respect the Sniper range, but this could be lead, and it will be spicy.
Yeah, Kogipaw trying to take down and shut down this push as soon as possible because 37 Sexy Boys already at second checkpoint, taking it to 24 before Facade takes control once again. And really, all of that translation from Sully's plays, now Facade has responded with a wipeout of their own here. They have 70 seconds, and we've seen how well Facade has been able to push up. And look at this positioning from the map right here, as you're able to just see now Akame just trying to shark here, finding an extra pick just to take them out. Well, you see a couple players watching now on this process. Towers moving very slowly over now, almost at where Facade was at earlier here, and these last 45 seconds is going to shift for a very dramatic finish as the points are starting to whittle away. Facade is at the 28 second checkpoint. Tactical are coming online. They get lead as well, and this has been back and forth so far. Last minute, and like a 3 down for 37 Sexy Boys.
Everything just went out of control in a hurry there as they will secure the KO and get themselves up to 3-0 lead. The big thing I was going to note there earlier was at least 37 Sexy Boys. They gave themselves enough room to build themselves a big snowball opportunity. But when we saw the wipeout in that final push one from Facade quickly understood, all right, we took all 4 of them out. We can punish them at their base, make sure that we can build an even better lead, and they built it to that KO section there. I gotta give a lot of credit to Sully to at least try to stop Facade from trying to push any further from a few earlier pushes. Again, once that positioning was set from Facade deep into 37 Sexy Boys base, it was almost a lot to ask for out of 37 Sexy Boys.
It was a lot to ask for indeed, and this these last 90 seconds really were a lot to happen here. Maybe arguably the last 2 minutes. You saw how many picks were being taken from both sides. And it really just shows that at this level, the ability to make the most out of the numbers advantage, the power play, basically. There's a sports thing was going to come out at some point. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So... But yeah, being able to do all that, that's really where you shine, where you're able to see, because at Division 1 and on, you know that they make the most out of these opportunities. And at the end, it was just that Facade found the last opportunity and was able to take it all the way.
when you build upon more experience playing the video game here, as we can see that beautiful Sully dribble. Again, this was just very little too opportunistic from Facade, and it was also just too perfectly staggered there that allowed Sully to get the triple. Of course, it ends with the 3-0, but it was still very well played there from Sully. But back to your original point there, the more experience that each team builds upon playing the video game, and of course, the more they improve, you start to recognize that teams at higher levels will try to take full advantage of any man down situations, or as obviously you phrased, the power play situations earlier, because once they get that wipeout, they understood it is time for us to be aggressive and build an even bigger snowball, and that's always a big difference we get to see from higher divisions and then compared to others.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I think the interesting thing is, like, you see snowballing, we talk about that a lot here, because that's
Yeah.
something that especially shows off in tower control. Clan Blitz can feel very different at times. I think it's Clan Blitz, Barnacle, and Dime we're going into for this game 4, and we could see Facade potentially be on match point. 37 Sexy Boys, maybe this is their way to get back onto the board. In fact, I think lately today, game 4 is usually where the team who is losing is able to get on the board for the first time. So the luck is on 37 Sexy Boys. The record shows it. They could potentially do it here. But I think the shift in the gameplay might be really interesting to see here, because you really have to create your own opportunity in Clan Blitz. And like we see it now where you make so much off of like the numbers advantage here. That's only going to be one piece of the puzzle in Clan Blitz. So I'm excited to see how both the teams approach this game 4, especially knowing that there really is a lot on the line now, especially for 37 Sexy Boys. Doesn't want to stare down an 0-4 in the best of 9.
What we'll give 37 Sexy Boys credit for is Spicy. We kind of see them actually start to improve the more the set progresses. And we can say that a lot for best of 9 sets that do play out, because it's mainly play style. How do you get a feel for the player's play style in between game 1 and 2, and how do you adjust for it? It feels like 37 Sexy Boys is quickly picking it up, but of course, they had to make sure they're not in these situations where Facade can just take full advantage of any man down or squid down situations, because once they do, Facade's just gonna run with it and even push it even further. So that's the one thing I'd like to see from the game here, especially with something like Barnacle and Dime. Clan Blitz it's a lot more oriented. You got to get your coordination in play. It's a very team-based mode anyway. So how do you shore that up as a team, especially trying to prevent a lot of strong opening pushes that Facade has been doing? Of course, I think those opening pushes will be a little bit slower paced, especially when both teams are trying to get power clans spawned.
Oh yeah, and I think especially in Clan Blitz, this is really where the team dynamic is going to shine here. And I love it how, especially in playoffs, what you're going to see is, especially at this level, I would imagine, there is some creativity, like back of the playbook type stuff here, like the set play, just to find that scoring opportunity is insane. It's going to reference back to Division 7 finals, where at the absolute end of Clan Blitz, you saw just the set play there just to get into the score for the first time, and then just be able to translate off of that kind of stuff really happens in Clan Blitz, and you see where these teams show that coordination aspect. I'm interested to see how these teams approach it. We're gonna see how the weapons rollouts change, if there's anything different here. You do see a return of the pencil and a couple other options as well as whoa, okay. Hello, Bob.
Well, I guess we knew that they were doing Kraken, so I'll give them this. There's a CRB in the realm of 37 Sexy Boys. When you think Kraken weapons, I don't think Spicy, you and I were thinking Blob Deco for the Kraken weapon of choice. And it's actually not a bad weapon in the context of Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz, because you can actually use this weapon to just put down so much paint with the way the map geometry is laid out. So I want to see how Facade is able to make that one count. But one of the things I've noticed, by the way, with some of these weapon changes, especially with the CRB and Sasha coming out as 37 Sexy Boys, and also for Facade, it seems to be centered around the Zuka and the Sniper and that 52.
Yes.
So there's a lot of flexibility that Happy's just kind of dishing out right now for Facade to take full advantage. But right now, Spicy, we're kind of into this neutral game for now, but there is a power claim that's available for Facade.
Yeah, and the neutral game in the beginning is incredibly important, and this is the first time that I'm pretty sure we're going to see Facade not able to score in the first minute here. But you see the position in a way to make that first push. You see the power clam, you see that the shot has 6 as well, and they're positioned very nicely up front. You see Jay just trying to find something up there, but not able to do anything yet. And 37 Sexy Boys has done a great job of slowing this game down. And while they don't have the clam economy yet, and Happy is now with that Kraken just trying to cause absolute havoc, really positioning themselves in a way so the pencil has to run away. But now this is an opportunity for 37 Sexy Boys to hold on defense, because 2 down goes in the process, 3 down from now, and now look at it, it's just the pencil alive for Kokipa on the pencil, and now they have to push back. It's been just a really strong defensive start here for 37 Sexy Boys.
37 Sexy Boys will be very happy to at least make sure that that push doesn't start right away there, because this is the big issue 37 Sexy Boys is having to deal with. It's just so much long range painting from the Snipe Rider and the Blob Deco there, because Blob Decos are just going to put down so much pain. That's a great pick, by the way, onto Happy. That is going to help their cause with the dueling Snipe Riders in play. But that's the big thing you have to understand, is that's so much pain. How do you deal with the Facade at this stage? They are going to be 2 down. It's a bit of a messy fight, but I think Pokeball found a huge opening there. But is it just going to be the one and done push? No, it looks like J-Rod is going to be right there with clams. They're having respect to Zuko, so that's why this is going to be taking just a bit longer. Happy to spawn a Power Clam of their own. They're not going to be able to cash that in quite yet, and that's 2 down. It is just going to be the one and done push. It is points on the board, as we can see. Crossing Krakens in play, but that'll be Fishy getting the pick. There's a lot that's kind of happening right here. Spicy, but it's a one and done push to start for Facade.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they like to call the Kentucky college basketball program, with the one and done there. But right now for Facade, they're getting just a lead at this point. It's really important here, because you see that 37 seconds as well. They do have the power clam ready. It's been a very much a drawn-out game, very defensive, not a lot of points on the board yet. So it's going to be seeing this final 2 minutes, this 2-minute warning here. How do these teams set up for this point? You know that 37 Sexy Boys, they are in a good position to do so here. You see that there's a lot of orange, especially in mid. The Tri-Strikes are going to help, and the Zuka as well, trying to find a pick onto Kokipa, but Kokipa's just so good at trying to evade these shots and just maintain their positioning. And now, this neutral game, we are 90 seconds in, and it's really down to the wire here. A great pick now as the comment goes down, and now it's here we are. This is coming into the end game here, and now with the clam economy being very different from both sides, it's going to be shaping up for a very dramatic ending.
Exactly that, because there's really not that many points on the board. But the big thing, but again, I still lurk back to is Facade just has a lot of long-range pain, so this is going to be one of those cases where I don't be surprised to see if they try to weaponize the Snipe Rider and Zuka and shot in such a way where can we get value out of the Zuka there? As I called out the shot immediately going down on top of it, but the Slosher has to be there to help with the assist. So you got to use that Kraken most likely to displace the rest of Facade so that they don't get themselves set up for full-on oppression there. But it is going to be a 2-for-2 trade at the very least, and they are able to hold the line. Fishy is able to take out a comment, and this is your time to try to regain some ground as much as they can. Happy is available. Well, I was gonna say Happy was available with the Kraken. Immediately jinxed it the minute those words got said. But the problem that 37 Sexy Boys had until that very moment was, where is the power clam? They got one now, but Facade is trying to do their best to hold the line. It's gonna be very close here in the last 25 seconds. But right now, 37 Sexy Boys are also losing members left and right.
Yeah, and now in the last 20 seconds, that power clam is still on the board here, but it's really hard to get back to, and it looks like it is going to be taken out now, and this is going to set up for a very difficult end game for 37 Sexy Boys, who has to build something. But like, this is going to be like, here we are. If Facade just holds on, they should be fine here without a power clam in sight. As Facade, one score was all they needed, and this was turned into a very defensive game, really close down to the wire. But in the end, Facade has found themselves here, match point, 1 more away from punching their ticket into the finals.
If 37 Sexy Boys will now have to enact the legendary Golden Hour reverse sweep that we saw from Division X if they want to have a chance to move on to the next round. And the only reason why this became so defensive the way it was is just the way the Krakens were really used. The Zukas had to be respected as well. And again, doing snipers and blobs, it's just so many weapons that just put down so much pain on the board and is forcing everybody into a frenzy. It's pretty much no reason why this felt so different compared to the previous games, because again, Facade, I keep harping onto it, but it's so important here, because if 37 Sexy Boys loses a lot of ground, Facade can just claim so much pain down on that turf. As we do get to see the last seconds, again, there was no power claim in sight, so there was going to be no OT. Not that it would have mattered anyway, because a lot of members were going to go down at the rate it was going, but 37 Sexy Boys find themselves in the 4-0 hole at this stage, and they have to win. They have to pull off the fabled reverse sweep. We saw it already in Division X. They got to do it here. There is a chance they can pull it off, but but the way Facade's been playing, Facade is trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, Facade at this point, they're smelling blood in the water. They understand they are one game away here, and I think one thing to credit now is, like, as well as 37 Sexy Boys did on their defensive end last game, Facade, this was their first game where they really shined on defense, I think. We really saw them like, okay, now we win by playing defense. And you hear the phrase all the time, defense wins championships. So that's really where they're able to show that. They show that they can be offensive. They show they can score. But now they know when to buckle down on defense. And that's where Facade, it's just such a well-rounded team. And you see why they've been so dominant this season so far. But 37 Sexy Boys, now this is where you see desperation in a way come out, and this is where you see teams with back pushed against the wall. This sometimes brings the best out in their players, and I'm excited to see how they make adjustments. What do they do here? Because there you saw some things. They were playing very well at multiple points the last two games. It's just, can they put the pieces together to finally get on the board?
It's trying to solve the Facade puzzle at this point. There, and the Facade is the fact that they have one player who's as flexible, showing pretty much not weapons that you just don't normally see, but it actually really works well in execution with the rest of its comp. And that's kind of the thing that 37 Sexy Boys is. It's basically a giant puzzle. You know that you have three players that almost are playing very similar styled weapons. Then you have Happy that's just going to throw a wrench into everything. So how do you account for that? If you're 37 Sexy Boys, you have to win the next 5. You got to figure out how you adjust your playstyle to deal with what Happy is kind of dishing out at that point in time. Facade is just ready to shut the door on 37 Sexy Boys coming up here soon. It is match point for Facade coming up here shortly. Their response appears to have the Wiper out in play, and it looks like there are multiple weapons. This is a double Ultra Stamp comp that Facade's dishing out.
I am at a loss for words here. I thought it was already weird enough that we're seeing J-Rod on the heavy edit instead of a shot, but now you're seeing double hammer. And what is this opening push? And in the 15 seconds, they're already over at the right checkpoint. You just see it from the overhead. And here's the one hammer from Akame. I don't know, they're already at the 33. We're not even 30. They have more points than there were seconds on the clock. They're almost breaking that out in the first 30 seconds. What is this push there? Facade is looking to shut the door early here and go into finals very quickly.
Spicy, I think Facade may have heard our words and like, all right, we need Spicy and Killen to stop talking to us here for a second. We're gonna make sure we just launch our ticket away to finals there from that initial push. And it's a classic case where the cards kind of just fell into place there for Facade. There, 2 members going down, I believe, on the left hand side, opens the door for that right checkpoint to be cleared. It happened almost as fast as we were about to note the double Ultra Stamp with the Sploosh and the Inkburst Nouveau on top of it too. And 37 Sexy Boys already find themselves down super early. Again, they have the benefit of working with a lot of time, but that's a lot they're gonna have to deal with. And Facade, 2 hammers are available. How do you decide with both of them? The big question. There's the first, there's the second, and Fishy stamped out. There's 3 hammers down. Everybody's going down from hammers. That's the wipeout. And they're looking to pick up this regular. Might be looking for the exclamation point.
Hammer time at this point. What are we witnessing right now? Facade with this kind of push, and now they are going to go 2 down here, which is a great stop here for 37 Sexy Boys. But look at this aggression that they're really putting out here. Now there's a hammer from the side of 37 Sexy Boys here. I just realized there are 3 hammers in this game right now. What is this? That's in Division 1 too. Love to see it, but wow, that's unfortunate from Happy. Just to put the trigger Happy on that hammer, I guess. But now here we are. 37 Sexy Boys has the Rainbreaker, loses it in the process, but this game, they've been able to stall out the lead, at least for a bit here. They haven't gotten KO'd yet, and all they need is just an opportunity, at least by the looks of it.
Spicy, you will know 4 words here. 7 seconds or less. That's the pacing that we are at. That is the pacing we are kind of playing at. We are not given a chance to break down what is happening here. Both teams are playing fast and furious here at the start. The Rainmaker's being picked up. Stamps are being stamped down across the board. It's flying everywhere. There's no chance for us to really catch our breath because of how fast these pushes are developing here. Oh. There's a great defensive hold there from the Zuka. Here's another stand-up being dished out. It's a critical wipeout there from 37 Sexy Boys. Now we can catch our breath here, Spicy. This is 37 Sexy Boys. They're gonna pick up this Rainmaker, trying to rush it through. I feel like we are not allowed to stop talking here for 3 minutes, and this could keep going with the way both teams are playing.
I'm so stunned that we have only just now hit the 3-minute mark in this game here. Kogipaw with the Zuka trying to find some long-range pressure here to also add on with the hammers that have been so prevalent in this game so far. Akame now with that brush really playing in, and look at this, 37 Sexy Boys find themselves only 1 up at that moment as J-Rod looking to put the finishing touch here, and you see them moving over now, trying to Euro step over towards the podium, isn't able to do so now. There's one hammer coming out towards one. Being chased by another hammer. What is happening right now? They're fighting at the bubble, trying to find hammer. It's just a sploosh up. The sploosh actually is going to be able to potentially win this game. Happy with 1 more point. Happy is going to win it. What did we just see? Facade, his 5-0 is going into the finals of Division 1, and I am still at a loss for what we have just seen.
I feel like scientists in Splatoon are gonna have to figure out what on earth was just this galaxy-brain gameplay that we saw. I better hope our producer has a crazy replay waiting for us in the last 30 seconds. There's just way too much to break down here, Spicy. I know literally the 4 words I said because you will remember it there too. As Fappy, of course. Yeah, just move it a little too far to the right. I see what the idea was. Yeah, there's that replay. It is hammered. This was silliness. There was 3 down. The stamp happened to run into Noah, which just leads to the 1 member. They had to try to fire it. Happy, by the way, really smart, using the podium effectively as a way to block the shots. By the way, shout outs to just recognizing. All right, I have an idea where the enemy is. I gotta run in that same line to make sure that podium gets is blocking all the shots. And that's kind of how to sum up this game. It was fast, it was furious, and it ends with Facade with the 5-0 sweep.
History was made in the last 5 seconds of that game. We just saw a hockey face-off in Splatoon with the 2 hammers, dueling hammers. I am stunned. Congratulations to Facade for making the finals, and they really took what we were saying earlier to heart. Okay, we'll just end this early. We have time to prep. We'll save our energy. I guess it looks like they exerted a lot of energy, but maybe they didn't because of how well they played. But 37 Sexy Boys, you saw glimpses. You saw moments where they were just on fire. It's a shame that they ran into just this brick wall that Facade was, and now after all the highlights we just saw, this isn't even the end of the day for Facade. That's crazy.
So remember in the very first minute of this game, because it feels like I have been blinded by just how fast everything is. By the way, we're still trying to iron out the finals graphic there for there, so just keep an eye on this one. But we did not jump 8 divisions there. But yeah, Spice, remember in the beginning of our block that we said what was it? Both teams probably want to get this set done early. Obviously, for us, we want to see a longer set. I think Facade quickly understood the assignment. Like, all right, we want to be done. We need to be done here soon. So let's just get the 5-0. 37 Sexy Boys. I got to give them a lot of credit for even a stellar season as well. Yes. Where again, I feel like they were really figuring things out, but it was just trying to solve the puzzle that Facade actually had. And well, the puzzle pieces just kept changing whenever Facade just dished up that double ultra stamming game 5, and then at that point you kind of just knew with the way the game was kind of progressing in that Manta Rainmaker map. Spicy, I mean, it happened so quickly, we just never got a chance to really process everything. Everything was just happening all at once, and I think 37 Sexy Boys was trying to catch up to what Facade's doing, and by the time it all happened, the game was basically over.
Pretty much, yeah. Facade decided, we were talking, the analogy, the metaphor of it's a puzzle that 37 Sexy Boys was trying to figure out the entire time. Facade realized that 37 Sexy Boys was a couple pieces away. They took the puzzle, they threw it off the table, and then put a new one out there. We were talking back of the playbook. I don't think anyone was expecting double hammer in Division 1 semifinals, one game away from going to the championship. And that is just some ingenuity that I am seeing here. If we fast forward in like 4 months from now and we have somehow evolved from a tactical or meta to a ultra stamp meta, I'm going to come back here. We're going to look at Facade as like and how they just changed the game of Splatoon, similar to how we saw like the Warriors do with the 3-point shooting aspects. Yeah, maybe that's what we're seeing from Facade here. The Ultra Stamp Revolution. If they win finals later today with 2 Ultra Stamps, I'm going to lose my mind.
I hate to break it to you, I don't think one of them can be Steph Curry at this point in time, and then actually trying to change the meta game of Splatoon that quickly. While we are trying to catch our breath here, Spicy, I'm here to let you know as well that the other semis will be queuing up here shortly. Our other set of commentators will be coming up here soon, so we'll wrap up this first semis. I'm pretty sure the other one's just waiting for us. Ready to go. Dark and Hammy will take you home for the second semifinal set between Nidewin versus Hades. There, so obviously stay tuned, and then the winner of that one, wait until 5 Eastern estimated time, I'll say, for DRF and Rice to take you home for Division 1 finals. So now that we've gotten to process everything that happened in those 5 maps, a very zany set as well. Spicy,
Yeah.
Thank you for playing off double duty for us as well, going from Division 7 finals over to semifinals, by the way. So where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at this way. Yeah, 2SpicyBM. You can also find me on Twitch at spicy_BM. I'll occasionally stream stuff. I don't know what I'm streaming at, but I'm streaming stuff. You can also find me at Riptide if you are going. I'll be there. I'll be hopping around between the Mario Kart and Splatoon rooms. But hey, if you see me there, free to say hi. It's an absolute pleasure getting the cast with you, Keon. So where can the people find you?
You can probably find me trying to make sure that everything's all in order for today. Here, but if you want to find me elsewhere, Twitter and Blue Sky for all the regular posting nonsense. Twitch, I do stream. I am taking a break for this month just because my schedule just really did not line up at all. So I'll be back after Riptide. Which, speaking of Riptide, I'm also going there. I do not bite. I promise you that. Go ahead and say hi to me. Of course, feel free to talk to me about anything. I'm usually up for conversation anytime. So I hope to see you there. Again, Spicy, thank you for joining me on the commentary desk for the first semifinals one. Second one will be coming up here shortly after the break. You are watching the Division 1 playoff broadcast. We will see you guys after the break for Nidewin versus Hades. Don't go anywhere.
Ladies, gentlemen, ladies, and in between, my name is SPF Dark, and we're coming at you live here at Ludi tonight, bringing you our Division 1 semi-finals match. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, my name is SPF Dark, and I'm joined by a very good friend of mine.
Hey guys, I am Hammy. I'm so glad to be here with Dark. Very, very hype commentator. I love commentating with them. It's always a good time. How you doing today, Dark? How are we feeling?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. I am very much excited. Like I said, this is Division 1 semifinals. Things are finally boiling down to these last few games. Depending on who wins this next set here between I'd versus Hades will dictate who's going to be facing off Facade, who just won 5-0, by the way, in the set we just saw. Who's going to be going up against the next, depending on the outcome here today.
And a very interesting win we saw from Assad just now too. The hammers just dueling at the very end of the match is very entertaining to watch. So I'd like to see if I'd win, Hades can bring us just as entertaining of a set that we just saw, and maybe get something that's a bit longer than a 5-0 sweep, because I'm greedy. I like to see more Splatoon action. I'm sure all of you at home would like to see as well. So really hoping that these teams give us a great match, and I'm excited to see what they bring for us.
And exactly what that's going to be happening with that is going to be the first map with Rainmaker Undertow Spillway. Now, I've said this time and time and again with Undertow Spillway specifically. It's a small and narrow map. It's very claustrophobic. And the main like bargaining point that's like very hard to try and play around through is mid, because there's not a lot of room to wiggle around through mid. So that mid control is very vital here.
And not only that, with this new version of Undertow that we've seen in the last few updates, with those little caves, that little flank route, it's even more important to control that, because that's such an integral part for these like sneaky frontline weapons. A lot of splooshes, rollers, and things that like to get in your face have such an easy time getting through there. So you really want to control that, because if you let even a single member through at this level of Splatoon, you are not going to have a good time.
Yeah, no, definitely. At this high level, you gotta take whatever it is you can take and try and not give up as much as you can, because whatever little you actually do end up absolutely giving up or actively do give up, that can be leveraged to such a degree that even I cannot fully comprehend like how they managed to pull off like such these amazing huge pushes. And with that being said too, huge pushes can be the kind of the big hit or miss here. You know, the main route that people often go through is the left route, which is much more safer and a bit slower route. But there is that tantalizing right checkpoint where if you get that checkpoint clicked and get to push the Rainmaker through, you have a lot of points heading straight for you.
Yeah, and that's one of the important things, that there is always options here. People always like to look at this map and go, oh yeah, there's one route. You go left. Like, why would you go right? But you know, the options there for a reason, and there's always different possibilities. Every different push has a different circumstance. Like, you know, it depends on how many members you have alive, how many members the enemy team are alive, what specials you have, what your comps even look like to begin with. And it's up to these teams to know what they do best and know the enemy's weaknesses and try to find ways to get in and generate really strong pushes. And, you know, when you're about to start a best of 9, it's a long set, so you want to start getting those wins earlier, because it's an endurance match. You want to, you know, have these points built up. So if you start losing steam, then you're not gonna lose right away. You have that safety net to keep you in this set, because we're gonna see one of these teams going to the finals against Facade, and winning Div 1 is a huge badge of honor that these teams would love to wear. So both these teams need to play sharp, they need to play good, and they need to get ready to fight Facade in the finals. So again, we just saw sweep another Div 1 team, so Facade's playing pretty hot. So we'd like to see I'd win or Hades playing at that same level and give us a good game later tonight.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And there also is a bit of a contrary here, though, with how quickly Facade ran through their set, and now because they've been waiting like a good 20 minutes, I think, ish at this point already, things are starting to cool down for them. You know, they're not gonna have they're not gonna be as worn up as they was during that clean 5-0 sweep. And if this game goes to a game 9 as well, then they're definitely gonna be cooling down a bit. So that means that even though the 5-0 win is a bit intimidating to going up against, depending on how long this set actually takes, they might not be as worn up as they probably were just then in the set beforehand, because, you know, sitting around waiting around for this next set. You know, if it does go to a game 9, that's like almost a little bit over an hour. Especially if they're both like overtime victories and overtime matches in general, that time really starts to add up, and you can just end up sitting around just like twiddling your thumbs for an hour straight, and that's not really the kind of position you want to be in.
Yeah, but to be fair, there is also the other side of the coin where now Facade has a full hour to watch their next opponent play the game. They get to analyze and study about what they're going to play against. They can take a quick break and, you know, refresh themselves, prepare, and like mentally reset. And whereas whoever wins this match has to go straight in from a best of 9 to another best of 9 back to back, and that marathon can be tiring sometimes. So it's not always black and white. There's different there's different effects it'll have on a person of going straight into a set versus going in cold, and it'll be an interesting thing to see later tonight for the finals, kind of how that affects these players. But we're getting a bit too ahead of ourselves. We first have to watch this set, Not I'd Win versus Hades. I do believe we are hopefully starting soon. As I say that, no, I think the room is being reset for something. So a bit of technical difficulties in the background. You all know how it is. Sometimes getting those PBs open in Splatoon can be quite a hassle with Nintendo servers, but you know, $20 a year.
I mean,
as they'll say.
What can we do more other than just sort of sit here and just kind of wait for things to hopefully smooth over? But as you did mention they are getting back in the room right now, so we should be starting up here shortly. But No, I'd Win versus Hades. I don't know too much about these players nor these teams. I don't really have that high level experience that some players typically do have, because I am a bit of a retiree slash barely reaching mid-level kind of player. So anything past what I've done, I kind of struggle with knowledge base, but they've won for a reason, so I am excited to see what tricks they might have that I had no idea could come out from.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting thing where I feel like a lot of people who are maybe newer to the Splatoon competitive scene, you know, look at some of these higher level matches and go, yeah, this is the people everyone knows, and look at the lower level ones and say, oh, who cares? But I've seen some of these lower level tournaments and some of these lower level Looney matches, that's where the viewers are. That's where people are popping off, because, you know, that's where, when you watch Splatoon, sometimes you like to watch the people you know. You like to watch the people that you've played against and associated with. So it's a very interesting and unique split the Splatoon community has, where people like to view content around their level sometimes. I mean, it's very important to watch these higher level matches because you can learn so much. I know me personally, I'm only in Div 5 this season, so I've got a lot to learn, and these teams could definitely be showing me a lot, and I'm very excited to see how they play, so I can, you know, just watching can help you improve as a player. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, where I don't know much about these teams personally. I've never played against them. I have watched Hades play before, but as I've been informed recently, they had subs playing for them, so I actually don't know their roster. I assumed there were people on their roster who weren't, so I'm excited to see what they'll bring with their actual roster, though I do believe they might actually have another sub today. Little bit of background information there, but yeah, I believe the teams are getting ready here, so we are hopefully going to be getting into our first game very soon after a brief delay. But yes, Undertow Rainmaker, game 1. Very interesting map, very popular map, very common. You're going to see in a lot of tournaments. So both of these teams are going to have copious amounts of experience with it, and we're just going to have to see which team just plays better right off the gate.
And I think the interesting too here is that there has been a few like weapon changes, like in the latest season, in the latest mid-season update, that I think that might actually has been impacting a few things as of lately for the competitive scene. I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but I have been seeing like a lot more variety in weapon lineup and what people have been using and the type of comps people have been using. And of course, you know, Tactical has been the kind of mainstay that we are most likely are expected to see here once again as we head into this game, and we do see the Tactical with the heavy in it, and of course the pencil once again.
Yes, and we do see Not I'd Win May bringing in the carbon rollers I alluded to. Those very sneaky weapons. Love this map because those caves are very important, and Yeah, both teams playing fairly aggressive comps with their weapons and still bringing those coolers again to, be able to let them play faster. As we see Nide win all walking in together and all backing up together as Grape brings out the crab inside of Hades. Though one member does go down, Adapt going down with a blaster, and the Carbon going down, May. So both teams kind of losing their most aggressive weapon and just kind of a neutral stalemate in mid as both teams are consistently trading and both teams just looking for some kind of a footing, some kind of an advantage state here to be able to start moving this Rainmaker.
It is a play for neutral right now, where these teams are just constantly getting at each other back and forth. As soon as there's one pick, there's an instant trade back. It's a beautiful synergy against these two opposing forces, but now Idwin has the Rainmaker in hand and are slowly inching it forward, getting any clearing as best they can. Even Zuka comes out to try and shut them down on top of the crab take, but no, it's not enough as Idwin takes that first checkpoint.
Yeah, Mickey is able to just kind of walk in there as no members of Hades are on their right side to stop that Rainmaker from getting the checkpoint. So, bit of a scary spot, though they are finally here. They've rotated over, though we do see a couple of points from Nidewin, so the checkpoint isn't the goal anymore. You have to get a bit further than that if you are Hades, but they do manage to start walking back into mid, taking a bit of pressure. We see Cuber here grabbing the Rainmaker, wasting no time in getting it back to mid, trying to take spaces. There's still 3.5 minutes left, so it's more than half the game, but that clock can tick quickly. So you're going to want to get this checkpoint as quick as you're able to give you ample time to get a good push past 51 and get ready to shut out Nidewin. See, 3 of the members do go down, so Hades taking a potential advantage stay here. See, Cuber does start to walk to that checkpoint, though is by themselves, very similar to the push that Nidewin does, though we do see well, they do get picked, and Hades is pushing this checkpoint, but they don't have the Rainmaker yet now.
It is an unfortunate bit of a too hasty action right there, going far ahead without anyone to defend you, causing Hades to not actually get that checkpoint and still not be able to take it as 3 goes down. Nodwood holding strong, defending their checkpoint as best they can. And we saw earlier that Nodwood managed to get a few extra points on top of the checkpoint, which could be the main difference of a victory here. Because Hades, in order to contest that, they still need a breakthrough checkpoint and they need to pick up the Rainmaker again in contested areas. So that second pickup, that Nod win, could be the goal, not the goal, could be the game that we just witnessed.
Yeah, and this is, again, one of those positions where, as I mentioned before, we are running out of time. You see, it's already been 1.5 minutes since Hades tried to do that push, and now they can't get the map control back. So Nod win. Not a huge lead, but enough of a lead to keep them in a good position. Though we see 3 members go down. Julie is the last one alive, and they do go down. So, and we see now Hades taking that right checkpoint that we alluded to earlier. They do get the check, and now only a couple points to get the lead, and they don't get it. I believe the curling bomb actually gets the kill there. As we see May walking in, trying to push back members of Hades just to take the space back and try to hold this lead, because Hades 3 points away from tying, 4 points away from taking the lead. That's only like 2 steps, so not a lot of breathing room as you see just a back and forth here. The Rainmaker, though, one member of Nodwin does grab it to prevent it being grabbed, and it's a 2v2 here. Grape bringing out the crab and just constant back and forth in the side of Not I'd Win. Just someone trying to get this Rainmaker away and get some points. We do see a DC actually from Not I'd Win now. A very awkward position as we are past the time that's allowed to have a replay. And Hades does take the lead, and Not I'd Win in a very awkward position.
That's such an unfortunate thing to have a disconnect right then and there, because not only did you manage to lose that Rainmaker fight, but you lost the lead as well. The cards are stacking up high in Hades' favor as they hit the final minute of this game, and they just keep on going forward with the runaway to take the points down to 37 points and remaining. Now all Hades all needs to do is just stall out this clock timer. It's either at a constant player advantage as this timer just keeps ticking down.
And this is a very unfortunate position again for Nide Win, because you could definitely tell, like, they got to be feeling it. They were winning. They had a good position. They were controlling their space. And again, I'm pretty sure I saw a curling bomb come in from Mickey and get a kill on the Rainmaker. That is a very hype moment. We all get excited for it, and that could be the motivator they needed. But then a member getting disconnected, and now Hades just continually applying pressure, keeping them out. And we see a couple of picks here and there, but even getting one pick, if you're a member of Nide Win, is only neutralizing and putting you in a 3-3 position. Is not even giving you an advantage state. So with 5 seconds left, the Rainmaker's in a spot where Nodwin can't even grab it conveniently. So and that's just the game. They weren't able to pop it. They weren't able to grab it and reasonably, and just Hades taking game 1 in taking advantage of what they were handed with that DC and in that position.
It was an unfortunate event that Nightwind had one player disconnect. But I will say that before the disconnect, it was looking to be a pretty tight game. Both of these teams have been were going back and forth with each other, getting constant trades. Where that last push right before the disconnect, the points were just there was just like 3-point difference. So even though Nightwind had the disconnect there, I want to count them out of the game just yet. First game loss out of a set of 9. Oh well, we can just go next and try and take this better as we head on to Mahi Mahi Splat Zones.
Yes, again, a very unfortunate spot, and like you said, it was a very close game. So there was no the disconnect was definitely the nail in the coffin, but without that disconnect, there was no clear winner. It could have gone either way. So, you know, a bit of a scary spot for Nightwind. Hades probably not satisfied with that win because it was kind of handed out to them, but it's still a very comfortable position to be in. Like you just got to take those and accept it, and you know, try to keep that momentum going for Nightwind. They have to remember that they were winning most of that game, and they were in a very consistent, well positioned. So going into game 2, we have Splat Zones of Mahi Mahi. So this is a whole different story. It's a very different map. It plays very differently. So we could be seeing anything coming up in this match.
What I like to say about this map specifically is that the game really doesn't actually start until the water drops. So it's a big fight for neutral to just be like the competition is like whether or not you want to try and take the good chunk of the lead before the water drops, or you want to let your opponent get the first good chunk of the lead before the water drops. Because most of the time how I see these games go is that when you get the first flip in terms of zones anyways, or you get the first Rainmaker like start going to push, usually that kind of dictates that you're gonna get that first checkpoint, or you're gonna hit that first mark before the water actually drops. And then once that water drops, the map really opens up, and then the teams really start getting going with how they want to actively play this.
Yeah, and to that point, that's a common call out on my team is we push on water drop. Like, we can't get in. Just the water drop, that is our marker to go in. And we're going to see how these teams want to play it. As we do see Nightwing bringing a fairly similar concept. We do see the Crack-On roller coming in instead of the Carbon. And I believe not many major... I can't remember the comps we were bringing, but very, very similar comps to last game. And both teams just kind of walking in, though. We do see... Actually, no, we do see the double pencil. So we do see a pencil on the side of... instead of the head that we saw last game.
And both these teams are right out the gate, going in for blood against each other. The roller going in deep, and they get 2 off of Hades. Nightwind now sitting at the player advantage. They get another pick, and that's a wipeout right out the gate as they have free contention over mid, over zone, and those points are taken down. And Hades is going to be using this water drop to help push him in to try and recontest mid as they see exactly what Nightwind's going to be pulling out next.
Nightwind definitely determined after the result of the last game, though. Hades now trying to break in, but we have May here on the roller just kind of walking through them and saying, no, you're not allowed, not yet. We're controlling after this water drop, and that's what we're trying to do. May trying to get in with that Kraken, though unable to, getting pushed back by the Slosher. Now Hades all grabbing sodas, trying to find some way to break in and just get out of their own base here. It's the very common spot to get stuck at. We see Nukru actually controlling these islands, and that's a very important spot to be able to get down. So Hades may need to kind of focus out this gal here and Nukru and try to get rid of them. But Hades is trying to find any position right now they can't, as Nightwind is just ticking down with 37 ticks left to go before they take this game.
But 2 go down for Nightwind. Hades gonna do a quick reflip, and they're rushing in forward, especially with the tactical on their side right now. They're looking to go on the offensive to try and clean up any remaining members off of Nightwind. Hades does get 1 pick down, unfortunately, though, but they do manage to get another one off of Nightwind before there's a constant back and forth trade back from both sides. It's just utter chaos in mid, especially online. The zone's not even completely catered for one team before Nightwind finally gets take that zone. But that splash is doing work, getting 2 for 1 special, and they make it out with their lives.
Yeah, we see Grape there on that splash was outpainting the strikes and said, nah, I'm going to go for a double kill instead, and managed to get 2 members of Nidewin down and take the zone after the fact. So Hades in control of the zone, not in the lead just yet. They do just get past the penalty, but it's a 2v2 here, so we have Cuber on Hades trying to outpaint May, but May just uses the Kraken and tries to rush in for the kills as the strikes come in as well. Nidewin taking back the zone, taking back map control, and now Hades pushed out and stuck on their own base, trying to, it's time to start grouping up, getting your specials ready, trying to find a way to get in as Nidewin setting up pretty strong here. We see Grape putting that crab out that's means so much for this team so far, coming out the side. 2 members go down on Nidewin, and now Hades taking the zone again, but getting wiped. I'm not even sure what took them all out, as only 2 members of Nidewin were alive, but very well done with Mickey there on the pencil, and we have Nukru and the Gal, and I can't remember the Slosh player, but all 3 of them just kind of coming in and pushing Hades out, and now Hades are on the back foot yet again.
Now this is where we start to get to a danger territory for Hades. Nidewin done away with the penalty points, and their actual score just keeps on ticking away, widening the gap between them and Hades as we head to the final 10 points of this game. I don't think Hades has the fan power to try and push in and contest that zone flip, as this game goes to Nidewin.
Yeah, Nidewin taking back that game as it. And that's what they wanted to do in the very first game, so we're tying up the set, but Nidewin very, very confident playing there. I mean, it was a back-and-forth match. Both teams were taking the zone, but Nidewin never really lost the lead. They always managed to cap beforehand. They were able to coordinate those specials, coordinate those pushes, and we saw a lot of good players coming out from their players, and just, they were able to kind of come in from those side routes, and they had all their priorities right. They would go for the picks they needed to. They went for the zone they needed to. And overall, very coordinated playing that ultimately got them that win in game 2.
Both these teams are doing it. Just doing the best that they can, staying alive, pulling up whatever tricks they have up their sleeves to keep on going. Nidewin just were able to take that game away from Hades just like that, evening the score to 1-1 as we head to game number 3, which I believe was Tower Control on Ship-Shape Cargo Company.
Yes, game 3. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong map list, so I'm not actually sure. Actually, yes, there. Sorry, see, yeah, Tower Control Ship-Shape. I was looking at the finals. Yeah, so that one is. I'm personally a fan of it. I think it's I'm a fan of it if I'm winning, but it's a very interesting map. Those bridges are very hard spots to control, so you want something with range. I know both these teams have brought in a pencil in game 2, so they have those options. Though Hades only brought it in for that one game, I did believe they had the head at game 1, but Nidewin consistently bringing the pencil. And then also the carbon that was originally from game 1 with that Zuka could be very useful here. But yeah, both teams wanting to bring something to control those bridges, because that first checkpoint, very important to get as fast as you can, because sometimes that second checkpoint can be a pretty quick snowball. So you want to get to that position as fast as you can.
Yeah, no. What I always like to say about this map is that the first checkpoint is kind of the freebie. It's close enough to mid, where it almost always gets just taken away within the first 2 minutes, depending on how the game state currently is. It's that second checkpoint where you want to be so wary about, where you want to focus as much of your attention as you can, bro. Because as you mentioned, once you get to that second checkpoint and actually get past that second checkpoint, it becomes a very hard game to try and slow that tower down. It's so hard to defend it once it gets to that point, so you gotta do whatever you can to try and prevent players from getting to that second checkpoint and flush them out with whatever tools you have available to you.
Yeah, that second checkpoint very important, because as you say, it's so close to the end of the game, and if they've taken that checkpoint, it means they already controlled the position. They're already controlling both your plat and that top little area up on the left or right side, depending which way you look at it. But again, both teams coming in here. We're seeing, I believe, identical comps to game 2. Maybe, actually, I believe Nukru is on a shot instead of the Gal. But yeah, both teams bringing the Zuka, as I kind of predicted. Both teams bringing a backline charger as well to try to control those bridges. And we see Hades playing very aggressive. They do go down 1, though so does Nidewin. So both teams having 3 players in here. Both teams kind of going back and forth and trying to control the middle of the map and see which team can push this tower first.
Ooh, as we're looking here on the E-Leader, the new weapon here in this lineup from Nightwind. They're looking to try and create as much space as they can, but they unfortunately do get rushed and picked off almost immediately, as now Hades is in control of the tower and they're rushing it forward. The Blaster doing Blaster gaming as they're already in the backline, causing mayhem, denying anyone from Nightwind to be able to contest this tower. But that first checkpoint hasn't been taken just yet, so there is a little bit of time for Nightwind to try and get them off. But I don't think they have the manpower right now to try and contest it, as Hades takes that first checkpoint and they're moving on to that second checkpoint rather quickly.
Yeah, and you can see Nightwind, the second they realized they no longer had the resources to contest that checkpoint, they all rotated to the other half of the map to get ready for the second checkpoint. Because, as we talked about, it's a very important position to hold, so... And that's kind of the stuff you expect to see at this higher level, is just being able to know where you're needed and know when to take a loss to prevent a bigger lead than what the enemy team could get if you're out of position. So then we see May kind of trying to cause some mayhem here, Nightwind in general, just trying to get some kind of a footing to get a push of their own, but they do go 2 members down. Hades now starting to get map control back, starting to walk forward, though. A bit of a scuffle here. They do take 2 members down of Nightwind. So Hades, though, do go down 3. Cuber's last one alive. They do go down to Mickey. So Nightwind taking back this map, and they're going to start to get a push of their own here.
What a turnaround from Nightwind, managing to plant their feet and denying Hades from being able to push up any further than mid. And now they're the ones who are going on defensive right now, going to that first checkpoint, potentially taking it here, since it doesn't seem like Hades wants to contest it. As I mentioned earlier, that first checkpoint can kind of just be the freebie in this map specifically, as now that tower's moving into towards that second checkpoint. I think if they don't act fast enough, that lead's gonna be gone, but no, it's stalled out right at 41 points, and just like that, lead is now finally taken by Nightwind. Hades now having to do whatever they can to try and flush out any remaining members of Nightwind.
Yeah, we do see the tower just kind of sliding slowly past the checkpoint, though someone else does get on the tower to get more points regardless, to get a little bit more of a comfortable lead, though not by much. And we see Hades taking back their half of the map. They're getting set up here. We're 2 minutes left in the game, so still plenty of time for an early solid push, but Nightwind getting ready to set up for a solid defense here. They have a lot of strong utilities. They have those strikes from the bucket. They're going to have a Kraken. They have the Zuka. They have a lot of strong specials that can very easily just hold the tower and stall for time and, you know, prevent you from getting a lead if you have to bring it to overtime.
What a shot by the E-Leader as it slows down Hades just a bit for what would have been a potential pushing a start of a push for tower. Ends up just getting stalled out quite a bit, as now tower's now barely moving on past that corner, starting to head back to try and at least contest that lead. 41 points versus 33 points. That's not a lot of points to be differentiated between the two teams. So if Hades can get a good enough push going, get the picks they need, and get the specials online at the ready for this next push, as we head into the final minute of the game, that lead could be taken away in an instant.
Yeah, we see Oreo throwing in the strikes here to get rid of Nukru on this charger, because as we mentioned, that bridge, very important point. We've seen that leader just able to consistently hold that space, but now they've been pushed out, and Hades getting a push. They're very close to starting to get more points, so they do get pushed back, and Hades, a bit of a scramble here, less than a minute, though they do get 2 members down of Nightwind. We have the Kraken coming in, though. They're going to go straight for the tower to try to prevent the lead with only 2. It's a tie, and they weren't able to get it. The Kraken does clear off the tower, and unfortunately, the tie does push them back, and now it's only the Slosher and Oreo, and they do go down, but that's exactly what I was alluding to with that Kraken is it can prevent pushes, it can prevent leads. They tied it at 33, but the Kraken said, no, I'm on the tower, I can't die, what are you going to do about me? And they were able to get a very slow but very important wipe onto Hades, as now with 13 seconds left, they have to get on this tower and get the map control back to even start this overtime. We see Adapt does get on the tower with the blasters trying to push up, give some space for the teammates who are all respawning, but you see the strikes coming out from Oreo. We have Nukru on the tower, and that will be it for Nightwind taking game 3 in this set.
Oh, these two teams are out for each other. I know for a fact they don't want to be sent home right here, right now. You're in Division 1 semifinals. You are not going to give up as easily as you want to be. Hades versus Nightwind is showing that they will take this to Game 9 if need be, just for a chance to go to finals.
Yes, they're here to. I mean, both these teams are here to fight, but Nide win just, you know, after that game one, they must have been frustrated because they're really showing us what they can do in fighting tooth and nail for these. Then they've been fairly close games, but again, that one coming down to a tie with less than a minute left. But Nidewin just clutching out that victory, and you know, now they're starting to prepare for this fourth game here on Clams, Barnacle, and Dime.
Barnacle and Dime clam bits. I think that's the tried and true for Barnacle and Dime specifically. I think we always see clam bits on this map specifically, and I think there's a good reason for it too, because I genuinely like this map on clam blitz, because the mid is nice and wide and open enough where it's like there really isn't like too many things to like worry about for like cover, and so you have the white side lanes to try to not like try and play around any like sharky and aggressive weapons, but you also have the right wings to sort of hide behind. That way you don't get severely oppressed by any like longer range weapons like backlining weapons like splatlings or chargers. So you have a decent amount of terrain to work around for like a lot of different weapon types to really pop off and show off why they are and why they use that weapon type specifically for this map.
Yeah, and along that, it's a very interesting map because it feels, when you look at the overhead, it feels so flat, so wide, so open. But when you play it, you suddenly realize like, no, it's all vertical. Like when you get in for a push, you're in such a low down pit, and there's that perch, there's like the snipe area, there's the whole entire enemy base, and it's like, it's a map with a lot of different geometry aspects as you go across the map. So as you say, a lot of different weapons can work here, and everyone has their specialties on this map. So it's important to see which team knows how to play this map with their weapon picks and knows when it's their time to shine based on the positions of both teams. So I'm interested to see how these teams play as we are getting into the match here. Both teams readied up. We're going to see what kind of weapons they're going to bring for us. We do see Not I'd Win bringing a very similar comp to what we've seen so far. New Crew is back onto that Gal, and we do see Hades bringing in the Neo Splash this time, actually going for the double strike comp instead of bringing the Crab with Grape.
I think Crab take on this map specifically has a little bit less value because it's very easy to try and play around against it, especially if you have something like your own like strikes and Izuka. It's very easy to shut down. So maybe going for the double ink strikes here might provide more value, and already we might be seeing that value being used already, as we saw just instantly the ink strikes being used for their opening push from Hades. Nidewin now being forced to the back foot as another strikes comes out, taking 2 down. Hades looking to go in forward and to try and clean up any remaining members of Nidewin.
Hades definitely want to win this game to tie up the set, to not have the pressure of being down 2 games. The Oreo here sharking in the right street, trying to continue to generate this aggression as Adapt on the left side takes out Julie, I believe, on the bucket. Now 2 members down as May goes down. So Hades in a great spot here to try pushing, but Mickey's not going to let them do it. As I say that, they do go down. New Crew's up there by themselves, and now it's a delayed wipe as we have the 2 members of Nod Win walking in. They both go down. And it's a constant just picks after picks after picks for Hades, but they don't have any clams. They got the power clam +1, but they don't have any clam economy to continue this push in a reasonable manner. So a great offensive position, but not enough economy to really get any substantial push there.
An opening push goes for Hades, bringing them down to 34 points remaining. Depending on how this clam blitz go, that could be the only push we see if these 2 teams are actually at odds with each other, and it does stall out for just a complete 0 pushes after this. Hades will just be considered the victors at this point, but no, 1 does go down for Hades. Now another 2 goes down. Strikes are being used on both sides to clear the room, clear space, get some momentum going back to their favor. Nidewin using all the pushes they have at the ready to create even more space, pushing Hades back as they have the power clam and the clan economy to maybe potentially steal away this lead in an instant.
And this is where we've seen Nod Win do best when they have this strong map control. They love to hold Hades out, though. We haven't seen them on clams yet, so we're going to see if their clam economy is a lot greater than Hades, because again, they didn't get a huge push, so Nod Win don't need much if they can get a push, but Hades able to bring their defense in, able to push it back, and now the map is in a very stalemate position as both teams, all 4 members up, all 4 members on their own half of the map, and these pencils just painting out, trying to give sodas and wait for some more specials to come out. Strikes come from both sides just doing the exact same thing to each other back and forth, and no real clear winner here. There's 2 minutes and 17 seconds left, and there's only 26 points on the board for one side.
There might be no clear winner as of right now, but the cards are definitely stacking in Hades' favor. But as they say that, 2 goes down, 3 goes down on each side of the team. It's just a one-on-one before leading into a wipeout in favor of Hades, as they have majority control over the clan economy right now, and they're looking to try and decide whether they want to stall this out for as long as they can, or if they want to try and go on the aggression. And it looks like they might want to stall this out for a bit longer as we head to 1 minute 45 seconds remaining. 1 does go down for Nai to win. Hades going out on the aggression now with pink stripes and another 2 picks down. They have their cards in their hands right now to try and score a few additional points to extend their lead.
Hades now do get that basket open. Not as fast as they would have liked to, because again, that point where 7 players went down was in their half of the map, so they were too far away to generate a push before Nine was able to get up, though. They do get a much more comfortable lead here at 52 points, as I don't believe any more clams are going to be going into the basket. So Nine with 1 minute and 15 seconds left, they now have to get more than 2 power claims in if they want to take a lead here, which is always a scary spot. They do have the 2 claims due to the pities, but Hades is holding them in their spawn and not giving them enough time to really get in. So right now, Hades is all about stalling. It's all about just surviving, trying to, skirmish and just be annoying and just waste Nodwin's time in order to just stall out for the next 47 seconds.
Hades has majority tempo control right now. They can play however aggressively they like or however defensively they would like right now. As we're into the final 38 seconds and counting, both these teams are just at each other's throats right now, getting these constant back and forth trades. Nodwin looking to try and get a few points on the scoreboard at the very least, as they do get the power climb in with their last ditch throw, and they take the score all the way down to 59 points remaining. It's going to be a scramble to try and take this lead away from here, but I don't think they have the manpower to try and take the lead, as they're forced to reset. 20 seconds remaining. This might go over to overtime if Hades chooses to try and solve this out, so they have to go on the aggression right now in order to take his power time away from Nai to win and close out this game here. But as we head to 7 seconds of counting, I don't think this is going to go into a game close right now. We're going to head into overtime.
Yeah, Nodwin only needs 3 clams after the break. They do jump in the power clam. They need 3 clams to take the lead here. We see Nuker walking in. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
no, they only got 2.
Oh.
They only got 2 of them in. They need 1 more clam. May and Julie jumped in. Julie got jumped. Oh my God, Julie couldn't get it, and May couldn't get it, and Mickey and they took it. That was a test of how well I know the names of the players, is every player jumping in one by one, picking up the 1 clam, dying and dropping it and picking up the next. But I don't even know which member managed to get it in at the end, but Nodwin barely managing to get that last clam that they needed off of that glass into the basket, taking game 4, going up 3-1 against Hades. And that's such an unfortunate spot for Hades if you're a fan of them, because they played that so well, but the stall out just couldn't last long enough.
That's an upset if I've ever seen one. Hades had such good control over that last half of the game, but they lost it in an overtime scramble where Nodwin was just throwing them lives at the basket to try and get 1 more point. And now the momentum is building for Nodwin. As we head over to Rainmaker Manta Marina, we're going to see exactly what's going to be happening with these teams as we head to the later half of this set.
Yeah, and this is where things start to get scary for Hades, because being down 2 games, you still have a bit of wiggle room. You've already won 1 game so far, but you need to win 4 more, whereas Nodwin only needs to win 2 more. And where your only win was in a match, we're not saying because of a DC, but in a match where there was a DC, it's not great for your team's mental, your morale, because, it's such a long set and you're already down by this far. So something needs to shift with Hades. They've been very, very close in a lot of these games, and just that last game coming down to a single clam from a flurry of 5 jumps in the overtime. It's not like a one-sided game, but Hades needs to find a way to clutch out those wins and to manage to get past what Nodwin is bringing, whether it be that last second clam, that Kraken preventing the tie on tower control. Hades needs something just for that 1 extra point that keeps preventing them from getting the win.
They gotta use any card they have up their sleeve to try and tip the scales in their favor. At this point of the set, this is where Nodwin is starting to be a bit more confident in knowing exactly where they're positioned in this set right now, as we head to this game number 5, I'm sorry, as Manta Maria, Rainmaker. We're going to see exactly what these teams will be doing to try and adjust their strategies, but I'm baffled by the sight of a Blobber from 9-win.
Yeah, we do see the Blobber coming in very similar to the last set we saw here in the other Div 1 semifinal, as the winning team was bringing out a Blobber Deco for that Kraken. So bit of deja vu here. And yeah, both teams just kind of coming out with Hades coming the exact same comp from last game. Even though it wasn't able to get them the win, they do believe in it. They do go 3 down. Actually, that is a delayed wipe. Now, with Daft being the first one coming back, but we do believe that Nodwin's going to get a checkpoint here as they do manage to get that on the right side. And New Crew on this Blobber able to pop very, very quickly, and just very aggressive opening from Nodwin, not even 40 seconds in. And though 2 members on both sides going down, New Crew is getting points here, and they're not letting go of the gas even when they're down 3 members. So now with that delayed wipe, actually the jump comes in. Jewel able to almost get some value out of that jump, but now Hades finally able to start taking back some map control, and they have to shake off that first minute because they still need to get a solid push here.
With the checkpoint and some change, Nodwin is currently sitting at the lead right now as Hades are looking to try and get their few more points on their board right now. But 2 does unfortunately goes down to Nodwin, as Nodwin is going to go on their best right now to try and clean up as best they can in mid. But no, another 2 goes down. The Kraken having to be forced to be used right now to clear out that Rainmaker, to try and gain some semblance of control as we head 3 minutes 35 seconds remaining. These teams are just at each other's throats right now to try and maintain control as best they can. Hades take control of the Rainmaker. The Blaster going in with the splash down to create some space, but no! Nodwin dives the Rainmaker and nobody else!
Yes, May walks in here, managed to stop that Rainmaker though. Cuber able to respond really quickly. We see Mickey here walking in on the shooter as they are running this backless comp, so now they're on this front line, getting 2 picks there and getting the wipeout for Nodwin, running this Rainmaker forward as they're going to drop straight down, go for extra points already. Down very, very close to a KO here. They do go down to a bomb, and Nodwin not KOing, but putting themselves in a very great position as you see 2 members of Nodwin just sitting there waiting for it to pop, getting even more points, but the goal wasn't painted. There was no space to move up, and they're just making Hades panic.
Oh no! I think there was just like that. There's no one to contest it. Nodwin just cleans this game up, bringing the score to 4-1.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to see if you're a fan of Hades. Nodwin just running in very early, getting that very early push, and then getting some pushback, fighting that neutral game in mid, and eventually finding those picks. Again, with that very aggressive comp, they didn't bring a backliner, and they were able just to walk at Hades, make them panic that entire match, and in a very convincing fashion, taking the set to 4-1. So we're at set point for Nodwin, and we're putting Hades in a very, very scary spot because they're going to have to get 4 more wins in a row if they want to go to the finals of Div 1.
It is do or die right now for Hades. They cannot afford any more mistakes. They're on their last lifeline right now. For if they lose this next set from Hagglefish Market on zones, they are going to be sent home. Their Ludi Division 1 run will be done here and now, meaning Nodwin will be heading out to face Facade in finals. So they have to do their absolute best here these next game and these next 3 games after that if they want to try and even think on contesting that this current league position Nodwin has.
Yeah, it's definitely a scary position. I don't envy Hades here. It's such a hard deficit to dig yourself out of, both mentally and also physically, just gameplay wise. And Nodwin, we can see that they're playing confident, and especially where they're up 4 games, they can play risky. They don't need to worry about losing, because if they lose, they're still up 3 games, or I believe 2 games. Sorry, I can't do mental math. But they can play and just be annoying to Hades because they know that they have such a huge safety net that they can play no holds barred. Like as you saw that last game, they were able to just to walk forward confidently and just not worry about the consequences because they have such a good safety net, whereas Hades are starting to get in their heads a bit potentially and not able to match that pace.
as we get heading on over to Hagelfish Market's flat zone. This is the tried and true for this scene, especially with Splatoon 3, specifically with Splatoon 3. I want to correct myself. This map mode is I think one of the more popular, if not the most popular map mode that everyone loves. It has nice long sightlines for backlines. There's like flanking routes to avoid mid for any frontline and aggressive weapons. You have just a decent amount of area control, and even though it is technically just a narrow hallway, if you really look at like the big picture of it, there's enough terrain to play around there where it doesn't feel like that, and really making it a true fan favorite. And I think this, if there's any point in this map where Hades wants to try and turn this around, this is the point, because this is, I believe, in this map mode or in this map lineup anyways, is where things can actually start shifting for Hades.
Yeah, and as we've seen by technicality, you know, they've won. They won a very popular map and mode in Rainmaker Undertow, and so this is the Splatoon map. This is, I mean, less so nowadays. I feel like people started wean off a bit, but Zones Hagel has been such a popular and important map for a long time in the Splatoon 3 comp scene. So this is one that they've been able to practice a lot. And again, I think that the weapons of Hades should be very strong here. And yeah, as you say, this is their best bet to come back here. So very potentially convenient time for this map mode to show up. Now to see both these teams coming in here.
Ooh, a few weapon switches. We have the Slosher coming out from Hades with the going up against the technical alternate, not only alternate, with the V Slosher, as now these two teams are just breaking away in mid to try and contest the zone right out the gate. Nodwin having majority control right now, and on top of that, they take 2 down from Hades, and they're going in to try and clean up as best they can, but no, and they flip it and rip it. Hades stands their ground, takes a delayed wipe at this point, and they're now on the aggression.
Nodwin using that confidence that they were allowed to have, being up so many games and walking forward, but Hades were able to predict it and were ready for it. They did manage to get that delayed wipe, and now with map control and a lead, they're trying to just push forward and keep up the pressure to buy as much time as possible to get a stronger and stronger lead. Adapt dropping the splash down there, getting new crew there on that splash, and you see all 3 members of Nodwin trying to get some specials ready, trying to get some kind of position to break in, because Hades already halfway to a KO, and they're not letting go.
This blaster right here is the key to try and hold off Nodwin for as long as they can. Finally, that blaster did go down, and Hades are forced to back up as Nodwin has freeway to finally push down their own ramp and now contest Hades, as they're actually getting pushed back quite well right now. Both these teams are having a strong neutral game, with specials being online, tactical is being thrown about, ink strikes being constantly used as soon as they're up. Now, Nodwin 2 down against Hades' full team. Now they're going to be the ones scoring on the aggression right now, especially with tactical on their own side. Ink strikes using this follow the zone out as best they can, but if they fight for for control over mid, Hades finally take control over zone.
Hades doing a great job right now at surviving. Even when they're losing the zone, they're staying alive, they're holding their ground, and they're getting those picks. We saw when Nodwin took the zone, they immediately went 2 down, and Hades were still 4 up, and they didn't even rush the zone. They still played it slow and just took that zone when they knew they could. And now Hades, again, back in control, counting down on the penalty. This is a complete different team that we've been seeing so far in the set. They're playing much more slow and steady, but in a way that's not letting Nodwin use that aggression that they've been trying to use all set. And see Nodwin breaking in here. They do finally get some kind of position, as now May running in with that Kraken after getting 2, and Hades finally on the back burner for once this set, and Nodwin need to set up in a great position because they need to stall for about 30 ticks here if they want to take a lead from Hades.
This is where we're going to see how Hades actually responds to this back foot situation. They got to use their tools to try and forcefully push Nodwin back, or else this game will be just drained from them almost instantly. Ink strikes being used to create space to use to contest the zone, causing Nodwin to turn their attention back behind them, creating the space that Hades needs to actually push up, especially with the blaster. And with the splashdown, it's not going to be enough, as these two teams are desperately trying to paint their zone. But no, Nodwin takes the lead as they're still painting the zone. Ink strikes being used to try and hopefully contest them for a bit longer, but no, Hades finally takes the zone flip, and they're looking to try and clean up any remaining energy from Nodwin.
Nodwin gets that lead, but Hades in control of the map, as though that now 2 members go. So Win actually goes 3 down, so both teams losing a lot of members, so it's still in control, but they're all respawning as Hades need to get back here as quick as they can and try to prevent this hold from getting any further before all the members get back. And 2 members of Win going down. We see Hades taking control of the zone, trying to push up. We see Adapter on the left side trying to walk in, though it's just kind of a back and forth here as you see both these pencils just doing what they do best and just painting from across the map, getting some pressure onto both sides, and both teams in a bit of a scramble here. It's a DC from Hades this time, actually. So very, very unfortunate timing for that, as now we're past the point where there's a replay allowed. So Hades now need to come back and take a lead with only 3 members if they want to stay in Ludi.
I don't think this is gonna be a literal climb to Mount Everest if they can win this game out, as there's an unfortunate disconnect for Hades. They have control over the zone right now as we head to the final 40 seconds remaining of this game. Win has constant player advantage at this point on. They have every tool they have if they want to just potentially flush out. Win has every potential power to just flush out Hades in instant, and that they do is 2 goals down for Hades. Win has just the dominance hold they have right now.
Yeah, Win knew they had the time to just build up specials and make sure that when they walk in that zone, they don't accidentally whiff and die. They know that they have the time and space because they don't want to embarrass themselves and all walk in and die haphazardly. Now holding the zone, Hades trying to rush in, getting a couple of picks, but with 1 second left, there's no time left for them to cap, and Win taking this set at the semifinals for Div 1 5-1, but a very, very unfortunate spot for Hades. But it's one of those things where, sure, they just had a DC now, but there was a DC in the side of Win earlier this set, so it's one of those things where all is fair, I suppose, and at the end of the day, those are the Ludi rules, and Win, again, very confident performance from them. Hades giving us a beautiful Game 6 there, but just the timing of that DC was heartbreaking.
It's a bitter defeat for Hades, where they were finally able to just actually stand their ground and keep Win back for as long as they did this game. They were unfortunately cursed with a disconnect towards the end of the game, just sealing their fate at that point, as Win were able to clean this game up, set it up with a 5-1 victory over Hades, and are going to be moving on to your Division 1 Grand Finals against Facade.
Yes, both these teams going in here with, very convincing gameplay. Again, Facade winning 5-0 over 3760 Boys, and Win going 5-1 over Hades, and that one game that they lost being not only a very close game, but a game where they had a disconnect. So both these teams playing very confident at the top of their game. I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring for us. But with that being said, we're actually surprisingly on schedule for once here with SplatoonTourney. So a round of applause to us in the background. But I do believe we are going to be going on to our next game shortly. So that is it for us for our commentary block here, though I do believe we are going to be resetting the stream here because we're having a bit of technical difficulties. So don't go anywhere. The fun is not done yet. We have the Division 1 Season 15 Ludi finals coming up next. We're just going to reset the stream, and then we'll be back with 2 new commentators who are going to do an amazing job of commentating this next set. I'm going to be watching in chat and hyping up these teams, so I hope you all stay with me. So that being said, Dark, where can everyone find you?
Well, you can find me both at Twitch and Twitter and any other social media at SPF_Dark, where I repost a bunch of random nonsense from time to time. I stream whenever I can, and I just have it all around to have a grand old time doing what I do best by being loud. Hammy, my bro, where can they find you?
You can find me on basically every social at Hammy and the Wall, especially Twitch. I'm planning on getting back into streaming soon. I just haven't been because it's so hot in Canada right now. I've been dying of heat stroke. I don't want to bother streaming. I'm too tired to. But yeah, Hammy and the Wall everywhere. You can also find me on Discord at HITW, just the acronym for it. It's too long. Don't blame me. And yeah, also thank you to Jorian for being our streamer and spectator, a very unappreciated work a lot of the times, and they always deserve a shout out. So that's it from both of us for this commentary block. Again, we are going to be resetting the stream quickly for some tech difficulties, and we will be back with the Ludi Season 15 Div 1 Finals of Win versus Facade. Don't go anywhere, and remember, you're watching Ludi tonight on SplatoonTourney.